The story begins inside a prison in Thailand. Slim, a notorious contract killer, has just finished serving a 4-year sentence and is finally set to walk free. As he steps out of his cell and makes his way down the long corridor, the other inmates immediately erupt into cheers and shouting. To them, Slim is no ordinary criminal. He is a feared underworld figure, a man who once held immense power, took lives without hesitation, and commanded respect throughout the criminal world. After his release, Slim returns to his apartment to celebrate his freedom. His crew has already gathered, with drinks covering every table and several attractive women invited to help keep the party going. The atmosphere is all about celebrating without limits, but the good times do not last long. Suddenly, a knock echoes through the room, and everything goes quiet. The cheerful mood instantly shifts into tension. Reacting on instinct, Monarch pulls out his pistol and points it directly at the door. Before anyone can ask who is outside, the door is violently pushed open. An armed man storms in and immediately opens fire. Everything happens so fast that no one has time to react. Within seconds, Slim's entire crew is lying dead. The party room that was filled with laughter moments ago is now covered in chaos and bloodshed. The shooter is none other than the legendary assassin William Bang. This time, he has been hired to eliminate Slim and his associates. He has simply carried out the mission ordered by his employer. The moment Slim sees Bang, genuine panic takes over. Terrified, he desperately begs for his life, but Bang does not even let him finish speaking. Without a word, Bang pulls the trigger. In an instant, Slim collapses into a pool of blood. After completing the job, Bang heads back to meet Tony, the crime boss responsible for the assignment. In front of his men, Tony is clearly impressed. He repeatedly praises Bang, unable to hide his admiration for the clean and efficient way he handled the operation. The way Tony treats him makes it obvious how valuable Bang is to the organization. In fact, Tony regards him almost like a son, despite having a biological son of his own named Johnny. Bang, however, could not care less. Tony's compliments and favoritism mean very little to him. Bang does not need praise, nor does he seek approval. For him, every assignment is simply a job to be completed and forgotten. The only thing that truly matters is the payment waiting at the end. As far as Bang is concerned, compliments and flattery are worthless. Finish the mission, collect the money, and move on. Later, Bang visits Vap House, a live stream hotspot where attractive women broadcast online to attract viewers and earn income. Bang is there for only one reason: to see his girlfriend, April. Even so, he does not stay long, because he knows she is still working. The two exchange only a few brief words before heading their separate ways. The next morning, Bang returns to his usual routine. He works out, plays video games, and spends most of his time alone at home, enjoying the peace and solitude. Everything moves along quietly until Tony unexpectedly shows up with several of his men. They have come to share some good news. Daisy, one of Tony's most trusted associates, is about to get married. Daisy can hardly contain his excitement. He eagerly talks about his upcoming wedding, laughing and smiling the entire time, genuinely looking forward to the future. But no one expects what happens next. Without warning, Tony suddenly swings from behind and strikes Daisy hard in the head, knocking him to the floor. Without the slightest hesitation, Tony pulls out a gun and executes Daisy on the spot. Only then does the truth become clear. Tony never brought Daisy there to celebrate his wedding, he brought him there to die. The reason is simple. Tony does not allow anyone to leave the organization. Daisy's plan to retire after getting married is seen as a threat because Tony fears his criminal empire could be exposed. There is only one unwritten rule in the organization: anyone who leaves must die. Afterward, despite not wanting to, Bang is assigned to handle the cleanup. He quietly transports Daisy's body and submerges it in a chemical solution until every trace of it is completely dissolved. Once the job is done, Bang walks away as if nothing ever happened. That night, he stops by a nightclub, simply to have a few drinks and clear his head. He takes a seat on a couch near the bar, but before he can even relax, a stranger suddenly approaches and opens fire on him. Everything happens in an instant. Bang collapses into a pool of blood, his body riddled with bullet wounds. He is rushed to the hospital in critical condition. The doctors and nurses do everything they can to save him, not only because it is their duty, but also because they are afraid. Everyone knows how ruthless Tony can be, and if Bang dies, the entire hospital could end up paying the price. After several days in a coma, Bang finally regains consciousness. The first thing he wonders when he opens his eyes is why he is still alive. Bang knows exactly what happened to him. His body was hit by 7 bullets, and one of them went straight through his heart. Dr. Critton then explains that when Bang was brought into the hospital, a donor heart had just become available from a man who had recently died in a traffic accident. That emergency heart transplant is what pulled Bang back from the brink of death. The donor's wife had fortunately survived the accident, and so had the baby she was carrying. Even while struggling with overwhelming grief, she made a selfless decision and agreed to donate her husband's heart. That very heart is now beating inside Bang's chest. From the moment he wakes up, Bang is overwhelmed by a strange feeling. It is not exactly pain, but a mixture of curiosity and guilt. He begins investigating the man who saved his life, following the few clues he can find until he reaches the neonatal care unit where the donor's baby is receiving treatment. After learning the name of the donor's wife and finding her hospital room, Bang decides to visit her. Inside the quiet room, he sees a woman sitting alone with a pale face and empty eyes, clearly unable to recover from the loss of her husband. Bang says nothing and simply watches from a distance. At that moment, he feels rooted to the spot. For the first time in his life, he truly understands the cost of a human life. 5 weeks later, Bang is officially discharged from the hospital. Tony Dixon arrives to pick him up, accompanied by his most trusted men. The group brings Bang back to headquarters, where Tony has already prepared a lavish celebration to welcome him home. To everyone else, it is a Thanksgiving party marking Bang's survival. The room is filled with excitement and laughter, but Bang feels completely disconnected. He stands among the crowd with a distant look in his eyes, showing little interest in the festivities around him. Tony even has another surprise prepared. He proudly announces that the man responsible for shooting Bang at the nightclub has already been dealt with, and he has proof to back it up. Then Tony hands Bang a baseball bat, clearly expecting him to vent his anger on the captured attacker. But Bang refuses. He has no desire for revenge and no interest in staying any longer. His indifferent reaction leaves everyone confused. Sensing that something is wrong, Tony decides not to push the issue. Instead, he tells Bang to take some time off and focus on recovering. Tony is convinced that once Bang gets back to normal, he will return to work. In Tony's mind, Bang was born to be an assassin, and nothing could ever change that. Meanwhile, back at the hospital, Delaney begins to notice something unusual. Every single one of her medical bills has been paid in full. Determined to find out why, she approaches the doctor for answers. However, the doctor explains that he cannot reveal the identity of the person who covered the expenses due to privacy reasons. He simply tells her that donating her husband's heart was an incredibly selfless act, and that the money spent on her treatment is insignificant compared to the gift her family gave. The doctor advises Delaney not to worry about it any further. As Bang's body continues to heal, his mind becomes increasingly troubled. Memories of his past begin resurfacing, faces of the people whose lives he has taken one after another. A growing sense of guilt slowly works its way into his heart, refusing to let go. Bang eventually confides these feelings to Tony, but Tony immediately dismisses them. He has no intention of letting Bang even consider walking away, nor can he accept the idea of Bang abandoning the path that he himself paved for him years ago. Without hesitation, Tony shuts down those doubts. To Tony, someone with Bang's natural talent is incredibly rare. He firmly believes that if Bang quits and stops doing what he does best, his life will gradually fall apart. He will become weaker, slower, and eventually destroy himself. That is why Tony makes it clear that retirement is not an option. In his eyes, Bang remains the organization's most valuable asset, the man trusted with the dirtiest and most dangerous jobs. Not long after their conversation, Bang returns home. Quietly, he gathers his weapons, stuffs several bundles of cash into a bag, and heads out on his next assignment. His target is a man sitting alone inside a vehicle. The operation is swift, precise, and ruthless. Another mission completed without a single mistake. Watching Bang perform with the same efficiency as always makes Tony even more proud and reassured. As far as he is concerned, Bang is still the finest assassin he has ever had. But elsewhere, Johnny, Tony's biological son, can no longer hide his resentment. It is becoming painfully obvious to him that his father always puts Bang above everyone else while treating him as an afterthought. What begins as a feeling of neglect slowly grows into deep jealousy and eventually turns into bitter hatred. One day, Bang arrives at an abandoned building on the edge of the city. He walks through the property, carefully inspecting every corner and every weathered wall. It turns out he is considering buying the place, hoping it could become a fresh start and a new chapter in his life. When Bang returns to his apartment, he finds April waiting outside with an irritated expression. She is upset because her old key no longer works. At that moment, April realizes just how much Bang has changed. He is no longer the man she once knew. Curious, she asks what happened at the hospital that made him so distant and withdrawn. Bang offers no explanation. Instead, he silently hands her a stack of cash, making it clear that he wants her to leave and never come back. The following day, after obtaining Delaney's home address, Bang decides to visit her. From a distance, he watches her carrying her baby as she slowly walks toward her car. A look of sorrow flashes across his face. He stands there for a long time, as if struggling with something deep inside himself. Quietly, he follows her. When Delaney stops at a supermarket, Bang goes inside as well, pretending to shop while observing her and waiting for the right moment. Eventually, their paths cross. Delaney is startled and slightly uncomfortable when she notices the stranger staring at her so intently. But everything changes the moment Bang introduces himself as the man living with her husband's heart inside his chest. Delaney's expression instantly softens. Confusion gives way to emotion and relief, as if she has finally met the person she has been wondering about for so long. Delaney is genuinely happy to meet Bang in person. The warmth in her eyes makes her feelings obvious. She even invites him to a nearby park so they can talk. More than anything, she wants to know how he has been doing since receiving her husband's heart transplant. The two spend a long time talking together. When Delaney asks what he does for a living, Bang chooses not to tell the truth. Instead, he claims that he works at an antique shop and is considering leaving the job within the next few years. Before they part ways, Bang tells her that he would like to see her and the baby again. Judging by the way Delaney nods and the expression on her face, it is clear that she wants to see him again as well. After all, Bang is carrying the heart of the man she once loved. The next day, Bang returns to Tony's antique shop. Once again, he is assigned a new job. This time, the target is an accountant who works for their own organization. However, on the way to the assignment, Bang begins to hesitate. For the first time in many years, he truly no longer wants to keep killing people or sink any deeper into Tony's criminal world. The weight of that realization refuses to leave him. After finishing the job, Bang returns to the shop to collect his payment as usual. This time, however, Tony is nowhere to be found. Instead, Johnny is waiting for him. From the very first glance, Johnny notices that something is different about Bang. His attitude, the way he speaks, and even the way he carries himself no longer feel the same. Bang tries to act as if everything is normal, but the harder he tries, the more suspicious and irritated Johnny becomes. Not long after, Johnny heads off to see his girlfriend, hoping to blow off some steam. However, the moment he arrives at her apartment, he sees a man named Momo walking out the front door. At first, Johnny tries to convince himself that nothing is wrong. But when he steps inside and finds the apartment in complete disarray, his anger instantly explodes. Consumed by rage and jealousy, Johnny completely loses control and shoots his own girlfriend dead on the spot. Afterward, he immediately goes to his father and tells him everything. Coincidentally, Bang happens to be there as well. After hearing the story, Tony flies into a furious rage. He knows his son lacks the ability to clean up the mess himself, so he immediately turns to Bang and orders him to eliminate Momo and take care of the problem. Meanwhile, Momo is spending the day at a museum with another woman. It does not take long for him to realize that Bang has shown up with deadly intentions. Despite his efforts to stay alert, Momo is quickly and efficiently taken out by Bang. After completing the assignment, Bang heads to a park where Delaney is spending time with her son. The atmosphere is noticeably different from the violence he just left behind. Delaney feels increasingly comfortable around him. The bond between them becomes more obvious with every meeting. Eventually, Delaney gathers the courage to make the first move and invites Bang over for dinner. From a distance, Bang's former girlfriend, April, watches everything unfold. She has known about their growing relationship for quite some time. Rather than causing a scene, she quietly observes from afar. That same evening, Bang arrives at Vap House carrying all of the clothing and personal belongings that April had left behind at his apartment. The message is unmistakable. He has made the decision to end their relationship for good. April refuses to accept it. Overcome with anger and heartbreak, she lashes out with cruel words, accusing Bang of throwing her away just so he can pursue a relationship with a widowed woman who already has a child. She does not stop there. April even threatens to expose all the secrets Bang has been hiding from Tony. Yet Bang shows no sign of concern. He simply turns around and walks away, leaving April behind with a growing sense of bitterness and resentment. Not long afterward, April seeks out Johnny. She shows him photographs of Bang and Delaney together in the park, pictures she had secretly taken herself. Piece by piece, the truth begins to emerge. The accident, the hospital, and the heart transplant that saved Bang's life after he was critically wounded. Johnny also discovers several items Bang had thrown away in the trash, including something connected to the name Veneria. To Johnny, it is clear that something does not add up. Following the trail of clues, he eventually tracks it all back to a building called Veneria. His curiosity quickly turns into unease when he hears strange noises coming from inside the property. Johnny cautiously approaches a window and peeks inside. The moment he sees who is gathered there, he is stunned. The people inside are the very targets Bang was supposedly sent to eliminate, the same individuals Tony had ordered him to kill. Johnny quickly snaps several photos as evidence. But at that exact moment, Momo notices him lurking outside and immediately rushes after him, determined to seize the phone before he can escape. The moment Johnny gets home, he wastes no time telling Tony everything. He reveals the shocking truth. Bang never actually killed the targets assigned to him. Instead, he secretly relocated them to an abandoned building, allowing them to hide while making it appear as though they had been executed. The revelation leaves Tony speechless. He begins to realize that ever since the heart transplant, Bang has changed. It is almost as if he has inherited a part of the donor's personality along with the new heart. Tony cannot hide his disappointment or his rage. He accuses Bang of betraying the very family that welcomed and trusted him. In the end, Tony turns to Johnny and apologizes for never believing him. Then he gives a direct order: go to Veneria and kill everyone inside, including Bang. Realizing that his secret has been exposed, Bang immediately tracks down Delaney. He urges her to leave the city at once and take her child as far away from Tony as possible. Bang does not waste time explaining. Instead, he hands Delaney a large sum of money so she and her son can survive while staying hidden. Delaney has no idea what is happening, but Bang reassures her that once everything is over, he will find them again. In the end, Delaney agrees to leave, though she does so with fear and uncertainty weighing heavily on her mind. Bang, meanwhile, returns home and prepares himself for the inevitable confrontation with the assassin organization. He carefully checks his weapons, gathers ammunition, and makes sure he has everything needed for the battle ahead. What Bang does not know is that Tony's men have already infiltrated his home while he is away. After confirming that nobody is inside, Bang leaves the house and heads straight for the hospital. There, he manages to acquire a hospital helicopter, using it to reach Veneria as quickly as possible. The moment he arrives at Veneria, Bang immediately warns everyone to scatter and find safe places to hide. Not long afterward, Johnny shows up and orders his men to storm the building. What they do not realize is that Bang has already prepared heavy weapons and defensive positions throughout the property. An intense firefight erupts between the two sides. Just when Johnny believes victory is within reach, Bang suddenly turns the tables. Terrified, Johnny breaks down in tears and begs for his life. Bang offers no response. Without hesitation, he pulls the trigger and ends Johnny's life on the spot. Once he is certain Johnny is dead, Bang places a call to Tony. His voice remains calm and steady as he delivers a chilling message. Tony should prepare himself for death, because Bang is coming personally to finish everything once and for all. On the other end of the line, Tony remains completely unfazed. In a calm voice, he reveals that Delaney and her baby have already been captured. The news hits Bang like a lightning strike, sending him into a state of panic. With no other option left, Bang decides to act. To save Delaney and her child, he joins forces with Momo and the people he once protected. Together, they head straight for Tony's estate. While Bang and Momo quietly infiltrate the property from the inside, the others engage Tony's guards and keep them occupied outside. Inside the mansion, Bang comes face to face with April once again. She is consumed by resentment, convinced that he betrayed her for another woman. The two struggle briefly, but in the end, Bang chooses to let his former girlfriend walk away. Not long afterward, Tony finally steps forward to confront him in person. Determined to end things himself, Tony charges at Bang with a knife in hand. But he is no match for Bang's trigger speed. The outcome is decided in an instant. After everything is finally over, Bang and Delaney begin a new life together in a peaceful coastal town. They open a small restaurant by the sea and leave the past behind. There, Bang completely walks away from violence and bloodshed, embracing a quiet and peaceful life instead. His days are now filled with laughter, love, and happiness alongside Delaney and their child. Thank you for watching all the way to the end of the video. If you enjoyed this movie recap, don't forget to leave a like and drop a comment with your suggestion for the next movie you would like to see covered.